Big things are happening in Western Kenya. On the 31st of this month, December, there's going to be a meeting at Buhungu Stadium, Kakamega Town, dubbed Buhungu 2, aka the Atwoli meeting. This meeting, like the one in 2016, on the 30th or so of December of that year, is going to make far-reaching decisions that affect the people of Mlembe Nation and by extension the people of this country, specifically to do with the elections of 2022, next year. In the meeting of 2016, after thorough research financed by Court Secretary General Francis Atwoli, Musalia Mudavadi emerged the kingpin. It was the general feeling among the people of Western Kenya. It was the general belief that Mudavadi was the man to steer the community into future engagements. Remember, the following year there was going to be an election. He was therefore declared the community spokesman. In this meeting, coming in about 2 weeks' time, the Luhya are supposed to make a decision as to who to support. I think this coming after the very obvious decision, the very obvious knowledge that the Luhya may not present a candidate after all, unless they want to present a candidate for the sake of it. So, on the ground, it would appear, from my own investigations, from talking to people, that the Luhya are going to back Raila Odinga. But we wait for that day. I could be jumping the gun. I could be wrong. But you know my work is to look around, have my ear on the ground, have a nose for politics, and that's what I think will happen. Now, because of this, there have been animated talk, reactions, and the reactions are based on what seems to be obvious, that the Atwoli meeting is going to endorse Raila Odinga. I have received a lot of messages, telephone calls. People have stopped me in the streets. Some have told me bad things and printable words, especially after the formation of DAPK, the party people suspect belongs to Eugene Wamalwa. The party they suspect has been formed to clip the wings of Moses Wasika Wetangula, aka Weta, and also in general ways, Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi. It was even made worse when I was featured in a newspaper saying that Oka, OKA, where Musalia, Kalonzo, Wetangula, and Gideon belong, is going to die a natural death. And what is more, Oka will die sooner than we thought. Now, when you combine these things, I have been bombarded. Many people have told me things. What do I deduce? What do I deduce from these things? I gather that Musalia Mudavadi is very, very bitter with Raila Odinga. The bitterness is to do with two things. One, he feels he has supported Raila Odinga enough, and that Raila Odinga is not supporting him. He's bitter about that. Musalia Mudavadi and his people are equally bitter that they have spent resources on Raila's campaign over the years. I hear them talk about putting their helicopters at Raila's disposal, financing meetings, and now this bitterness, if you ask me, And if the Luhya people are listening to me, bitterness does not drive politics. Politics is driven by interests. You go to bed with your enemy so long as your interests are catered for. You work with Raila Odinga with your eye on the ball. You collaborate with William Ruto not because you love him. You don't love others in politics. You have an interest you are pursuing. That is politics. So my advice to my fellow Luhya, Musalia Mudavadi, politics driven by anger will not take you anywhere. Secondly, Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi appears to be annoyed with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Why? Musalia Mudavadi had been made to believe he was going to be endorsed. The crescendo of this, the peak that made them believe was perhaps words or the demeanor or the conduct of President Uhuru Kenyatta during the burial of our lovely mother, the mother to Musalia Mudavadi, because we normally fondly refer to him as Mwana wa Hana. May Hana continue resting in peace. Such a wonderful soul. During that burial, during the funeral, it was now more than clear that Uhuru Kenyatta was going to support Musalia Mudavadi. Equally, during the 2 or so by-elections that took place at the same time in Kabuchai, Bungoma, and Matungu in Kakamega County, the support these two gentlemen got, Wetangula and Mudavadi respectively, led them into believing that the president was supporting them. And therefore, Musalia has turned his anger against the president. It is evident. I don't have evidence, of course, but I can see it. Now, I have seen a clip. It is not doctored. It's not a Photoshop. It is the president speaking. What I can't tell you is whether it was recent or sometimes back. But what the president said caught my attention. The president said that people who want to be president should go out to get the presidency. He's not going to endorse anybody. That there are people waiting to be endorsed. My reading of this is that it was directed at Musalia Mudavadi, I think. Wetangula. Kalonzo Musyoka. But may I say Mudavadi. The president hammered this point of endorsement. I was left thinking about these endorselets sitting under an endorsed canopy, taking endorsed collar, sipping at endorsed collar, engaged in endorsed dreams that they will be made president. Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, I know this disease ate into you during the Moi era. I've always believed that Moi promised a number of people the presidents after he was going to leave, after he leaves. I'm sure when I look at the demeanor of Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, at the demeanor of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, I'm left with no doubt that they had been told, behave well. This thing I'm going to leave to you. Moi was a professor of politics. You can see how well behaved they are. So the president is telling you two gentlemen, don't wait for endorsement. And therefore, this waiting for endorsement is what is now eating into Musalia Mudavadi. It is why the Francis Atwoli meeting on the 31st is going to endorse somebody else other than a Luhya. I'm only saying that somebody else will be Raila Odinga. Sources close to Francis Atwoli tell me, I have not asked him myself, but I've heard people say, people have asked him, why don't you endorse Mudavadi? He says he tried his best. Atwoli said even after the endorsement of Mudavadi in 2016, he never moved an inch. He never moved to consolidate that power he had been given. Normally when people are propelled to such a greatness, they ensure they sustain themselves in that greatness. They make something out of the greatness. They radiate the greatness. The greatness is felt around them. Some of the people who have told me to tell Mudavadi, perhaps to wait for next time, and to be serious, have said many things. They have said, for example, Mudavadi, almost half of the Nandi County population is Luhya. You are a stranger to those Luhyas. They have told me there are Luhyas in Kajiado, in Kiambu, in the tea plantations. You are a stranger to them. They have told me Trans Nzoia, Kitale area, more than 80% is Luhya. That you are a stranger to these Luhyas. They have even amused me that even in the constituencies around your own constituency, Mudavadi, you are a stranger. And they want you to be president of this country. There's a particular individual who talked to me from the United States of America for a whole 2 hours. He told me how Luhyas can get 5 constituencies in Nairobi without breaking a sweat. How the governor and the Senate and the women rep can go to the Luhya without breaking a sweat. That you will only trade off with others. In fact, that guy built a scenario for me. He told me, for example, if Sakaja, Philip Kisya, Tim Wanyonyi were to sit down in a meeting chaired by Musalia Mudavadi, for example, and Moses Wetangula, the Luhya will take governor. They will only need to give Lakakisi deputy governor and another community senate, and they will get. But they are lacking a figurehead with the numbers that can shake Nairobi. The Luhyas continue to fill the baskets of others. The best example is the Great North, which is 60% Luhya or more. So what the people are saying now, and which is why the Atwoli meeting on the 31st December will not think of a Luhya, rather will endorse another person, that person being Raila Odinga. They are saying, for example, the enmity, the artificial enmity people are trying to create between the Luhya and the Luo, who are their neighbors, cultural neighbors, geographical neighbors, political neighbors. They go back to the days of Oyanji Mbaja with Jaramogi, Elijah Mkaya with Jaramogi and Raila from Vihiga, where Mudavadi comes from. And they are saying the divisions are artificial. Those who are saying Raila kind of tried to pull the rug from under Wamalwa are not saying the whole truth. They are forgetting that when Raila was campaigning for the rainbow for Kibaki, who was bedridden, the captain being Raila Odinga, they are not telling you Raila was campaigning for a presidency that constituted Kibaki and Wamalwa. There was that MOU already signed but not public, where Raila would only be considered after the election, but that Wamalwa will be the vice president, which he became. That the differences that are being cooked to create that wedge between the Luhya and the Luo is non-existent. Another guy wrote me a text and told me, you can see the way Kisumu is growing, courtesy of the cooperation, first between Kibaki and Raila, much earlier on Raila and Moi for the short stint, and now this handshake cooperation. So this guy tells me in the text, you can imagine how Kisumu will be a big city in the 5 or so years Raila will be president. Then he poses one question. Between the Luhya of Vihiga and the Luo of Nyanza, who will gain from the growth of Kisumu? You don't need to be anything to know that is a Luhya from Vihiga and the Busia around Busia. Why? The town of Kisumu will not grow into the lake Africans have not reached that level where you can build cities under the ocean, under the lake. The city will not grow into those flood-prone areas around Kisumu. No, it will not. Neither will it grow to the hilly sides with hostile cultural neighborhoods. The city of Kisumu, as indeed planned in the 60s, is moving right up to Mudavadi's doorstep. In the initial plans, Kenya Bus went to Mombasa, it was going to Kisumu, and the route was going up to Chavakali, Musalia Mudavadi. It is the people of Vihiga who will sell vegetables and fruits to the city of Kisumu, and they are already doing it. It is the people of Vihiga who will house the many people who will stay in the city of Kisumu. So they are telling me this artificial separation and rifts do not serve the interests of the Luhya. Finally, my own observation. As Francis Atwoli meets the Luhyas to make the major decision in Buhungu, my advice to Musalia Mudavadi is look at the Kenyan politics. Look at your interest and the interest of the Luhyas. You are not dying tomorrow. Look at the future. You have gotten opportunities you have squandered, you Luhya people. In fact, if you wanted to deal with Raila, there was a time Ababu Namwamba and this guy from Busia who wanted to be governor, I've forgotten, sorry, his name. Otuoma. And many others said they had left ODM. If Mudavadi and Wetangula had seized that, if they had grabbed that opportunity, I don't think there will be any ODM in Western Kenya. I'm only giving you a tip because I'm a Luhya. When there was talk of Ford Kenya and ANC merging, if the two of you had dismantled your small parties that people are saying are kiosks, where you threaten to run so that you may be given something for, I don't agree that is true. I don't see things that way. But people say they are kiosks, you threaten to run, then someone say, come here, sit down. You can have a cup of tea with Mandazi. I don't see it that way. My respect for Mudavadi cannot allow me to imagine Mudavadi can stretch his hand to receive money in exchange of such a stupid things. I don't think so. But that's what people are saying. Politics is about what people say, is about perceptions. They are not always right. So if you had broken ANC, if you had broken Ford Kenya, the message you would have sent across, today Raila will be having a hard time in Western Kenya. But you have shown that indeed you are weak, and that is why DAPK will wipe out Ford Kenya from Bungoma. That's why Ford Kenya will be lucky to get a seat or two in Trans Nzoia and Bungoma. That is why, very unfortunate I must say, ODM will continue producing a governor for Vihiga where Mudavadi comes from. And where Mudavadi will be lucky to get 2 out of the 5 local constituencies in Vihiga. That is a sad situation. So, as Francis Atwoli moves to Buhungu with Oparanya and the rest, do not cry. Do not shed tears, the Luhya nation. Instead, use that as a bridge to cross into the future. Don't even oppose the Atwoli meeting. Use that as a bridge. If you shed tears, if you are angry, the tears and the anger should be the bridge you use to cross into the future. Knowing one thing in politics, it is your interests that matter. There is no love. You don't have to love anybody in politics. The Luhya don't have to love Raila. They just need to see strategically. If Mudavadi had stayed with Raila from the time they began working together, even if somebody tried to inherit Raila's kingdom, they would not. In the manner in which 001 Ali Hassan Joe, all the way from Mombasa, inherits Raila automatically. And nobody has to like it. You don't have to like it. It is not too late. So as Atwoli heads to Bukungu Stadium, let Luyas use this as an opportunity. One, to work with their neighbor, Raila Odinga. Two, to strategize for the future. The future, according to me, is very bright for the Luyas.